I walked into the kitchen, smelling the faint scent of cinnamon and burnt toast. "Morning, Emma," I said, trying to sound cheerful. She didn't look up from her coffee. "Morning. Rough night?" I asked, pouring myself a cup. She shrugged. "I just need some space today." I forced a laugh. "Space? It's Christmas Eve. Are you serious?" Emma's eyes flicked to mine for a second, then back to her mug. "I'm serious. Just give me a few hours." I felt a stab in my chest. Space. She wanted space from me. Sure, I guess," I said, forcing a smile. "I'll leave you alone." She nodded, silent. The tension sat heavy in the room, unspoken and sharp. I took a deep breath, telling myself I was overreacting. She was probably just stressed with the holidays. Later at work, I caught Richard leaning against my desk, smirking. "You look worried," he said, glancing at my phone. "Worried? Why?" I asked. "Your wife. She seems distant lately." His tone was casual, but his eyes lingered a little too long. "Everything okay at home?" I hesitated. "Yeah, just a little tired, I guess. Holidays, you know." Richard chuckled. "Holidays make people unpredictable. You ever notice that?" Sure," I said, trying not to sound offensive. He leaned closer. "Look, man, if you need advice or someone to talk to, I'm here." I nodded, feeling a strange twist of discomfort. Richard always had this way of sounding friendly, but something in his tone felt off. That evening, I met Mark for a quick coffee. "You okay, man? You look like hell," he said, sliding into the booth across from me. "I'm fine," I replied, stirring my drink. "It's just Emma. She keeps saying she needs space. Christmas Eve. Can you believe that?" Mark shook his head. "She says space. That's never a good sign. You need to pay attention, not ignore it." I don't know," I admitted. "Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe it's nothing." "Overthinking." Mark raised an eyebrow. "Dude, you always overthink when something's already wrong. Trust your instincts. Emma's distant, and you're seeing Richard act weird too, right?" I froze. "Yeah, I noticed." Mark leaned back. "Don't panic yet, but don't pretend it's nothing either. Watch carefully. Don't let it slip past you." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. "Yeah, thanks." That night at home, Emma barely touched her dinner. I tried to make conversation. "Remember our first Christmas together? That awful little tree we bought?" She smiled faintly. "I remember. And you kept trying to hang the ornaments upside down," I said, laughing nervously. She didn't laugh. "Yeah, that was fun." I wanted to reach for her hand, to feel some warmth, but she pulled back slightly. "I'm tired," she said softly. I forced a smile again. "Okay, you get some rest." After she went to bed, I sat alone in the living room, staring at the twinkling Christmas lights. My mind raced. Was it really stress? Or was I already too blind to see the cracks forming? Richard's smirk, Emma's distance, something didn't sit right. I shook my head. "I'm imagining things," I whispered to myself. "It's Christmas. Nothing else matters tonight." But deep down, I knew the night had already shifted. Something was coming, and I couldn't stop it. I walked into the kitchen that morning, still tasting yesterday's unease. Emma was by the counter, stirring her coffee like she always did, but her eyes didn't meet mine. "I need some space," she said before I could even greet her. I froze mid-step. "Space? Today? Again?" "Yes. I just need to think," she said, her voice quiet, almost fragile. I tried to force a smile. "Think about what? Christmas plans? Dinner?" Emma shook her head. "It's not about that. I just need time to figure things out." My stomach dropped. "Time? You're talking about us." She hesitated. "I just can't talk about it now." I ran a hand through my hair. "So I'm supposed to just wait? And do nothing?" Emma's lips pressed together. "I didn't say nothing. I just need space. Please try to understand." I nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah, okay. I'll try." At work, I couldn't shake the knot in my chest. Richard leaned against the doorway of my office, smirking like he had all the answers. "Rough morning?" he asked. "Yeah, a little," I said. "Emma's distant." Richard chuckled. "Distant, huh? She's always been a little mysterious. Keeps you guessing." "Yeah, I guess," I muttered, trying not to sound suspicious. He glanced at his phone, then back at me. "Funny how people talk more when they're stressed, though. You notice she texts a lot?" I frowned. She's been texting, sure." "What?" Richard leaned closer, lowering his voice. Some messages shouldn't be ignored. Pay attention. That's all I'm saying. I nodded quickly, feeling a twinge of jealousy I couldn't explain. Later, Lisa from HR passed by my desk. Hey, did you see Richard's message to Emma? What do you mean? I asked. She hesitated, glancing around. Just, it's a little flirty. You might want to check. Don't take it wrong, but he doesn't hide it well. My heart sank. Flirty? Like seriously? Lisa shrugged. You should probably ask her. Or keep an eye out. Just a heads up. I sat back, my mind racing. Could it be? Was Richard crossing a line? And Emma, was she? I shook my head. No, I'm imagining things, I muttered to myself. That night, Emma barely touched her dinner. I tried to break the silence. You okay? You barely ate. I'm fine, she said, looking away. Just tired. Tired? You've barely been resting. What's on your mind? I pressed, careful not to push too hard. Emma sighed, setting her fork down. I told you. Space. Please don't push. I nodded reluctantly. Okay, but it's hard, you know? Feeling shut out. She gave me a fleeting smile. I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to reach across the table, to bridge the distance, but she didn't meet my eyes. That hurt more than words. When I got home later, my phone buzzed. A message from Emma. My chest tightened before I opened it. Can't stop thinking about you. See you soon. I frowned. Something about it felt strange. Was it just love? Or was it for him? I reread it over and over, trying to make sense of the tone, the timing. My mind twisted every possibility, and none of them felt right. Sleepless, I replayed the day in my head. Richard's smirk, Lisa's warning, Emma's coldness. I felt like I was losing control of my life, slipping into suspicion I hated myself for having. Am I overthinking this? I whispered into the darkness of my bedroom. I remembered what Mark said yesterday. Trust your instincts. Don't ignore it. I shoved my pillow against my face, trying to calm the racing thoughts. But I couldn't shake it. Something was off, and I had no clue what was coming next. The hours crawled by. I tossed and turned, wondering if I had failed to see the cracks forming. My own mind became my enemy, replaying Emma's words, Richard's tone, Lisa's hint. Each memory a knife twisting deeper. By morning, I made a silent promise to myself. I'll figure it out, I said aloud. I'll see what's really happening, no matter what it takes. And with that, I headed into another day, pretending everything was normal, while knowing deep inside that nothing would ever be the same. Christmas night felt empty, even though the lights twinkled around the room. Emma sat across from me on the couch, scrolling on her phone, her thumb moving too quickly for me to see. Something funny? I asked, leaning a little closer. She looked up briefly. No, just work stuff. I nodded, forcing a smile. Okay, if you say so. But then her phone buzzed and I caught a glimpse, a message from Richard. My stomach tightened. I shouldn't have looked, but curiosity got the better of me. She noticed me glance. What are you looking at? I cleared my throat. Nothing. Just your phone buzzed. Emma's eyes narrowed slightly. It's private. Don't worry about it. I hesitated. Emma, is there something I should know? Are you okay? She put the phone down, sighing. I said I'm fine. You're imagining things. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't shake the gnawing doubt. I don't know, it just feels strange. You've been distant all day, and now this. She gave me a small, almost sad smile. I told you it's just stress. Work? Holidays? Everything piling up. I ran my hands through my hair. Stress doesn't make you hide messages from me. Emma looked away. I'm tired, okay? Can we just not do this tonight? I swallowed hard, feeling my chest tighten. I can't help worrying. I feel like I'm losing you. Emma's lips pressed together. You're not losing me. You're just overthinking. I sat back, silent for a moment. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was imagining things. But then I remembered Chloe, her coworker, mentioning Emma's odd behavior earlier. I confronted her gently. Chloe mentioned you seemed different at work today. She didn't mean anything, but are you hiding something? Emma tensed. Why would you bring Chloe into this? I'm just asking, I said softly. I care about you. I need to know if we're okay. Emma looked at me with those tired eyes, a mix of guilt and frustration. We're okay. You need to stop imagining things. Please. I wanted to believe her, but my mind kept twisting every detail. Richard's message, Chloe's warning, Emma's coldness, they all circled in my head like vultures. "Emma, why are you pulling away from me?" I asked, my voice cracking. She hesitated. "I'm not pulling away. I just need a little space. You always overthink everything. Can't you trust me for once?" I felt a pang of frustration. "I do trust you. I think I do, but I can't ignore what I see." Emma leaned back, crossing her arms. "Then maybe you should calm down. You're making this harder than it needs to be." I wanted to yell, to demand the truth, but I swallowed it down. I feel like I'm losing something I can't hold on to. Something important. Emma's gaze softened, but she didn't reach for me. "You're not losing anything. Stop doubting me." I wanted to believe her so badly. But then her phone buzzed again, and my heart sank. I didn't look this time. I couldn't. I forced myself to focus on the Christmas tree, the ornaments, the little flicker of lights. Still, my mind wouldn't stop. Was I overreacting? I asked myself repeatedly. But deep down, I knew something had shifted tonight, something fragile had cracked. I remember the early days, how we laughed, how we talked about everything. Tonight, there was silence instead of laughter, a wall where warmth used to be. I rubbed my face, trying to push down the fear. I want us to be okay," I whispered. Emma gave a brief nod. "We will be. Just trust me, please." I forced a nod back, though my chest ached with uncertainty. "Okay, I'll try." After a long pause, I spoke again, quieter this time. "Emma, if something's wrong, you know you can tell me, right?" Her eyes met mine, and I saw a flicker of something I couldn't read. "I know, and I will when I can." That was all. Nothing more. My heart tightened. Something was happening between her and Richard. I was sure of it, but I had no proof. Only suspicion and fear. I sat there long after she went to bed, staring at the tree lights, thinking. My trust in her, in us, felt fragile, like glass ready to shatter. The silent betrayal gnawed at me, and I didn't know how to fix it. And for the first time, I felt truly alone. I woke to an empty bed. The pillow beside me still smelled faintly of Emma's perfume, but she wasn't there. Panic clawed at my chest as I scrambled out of bed. "Emma." I called through the quiet apartment. No answer. I grabbed her phone from the nightstand, locked. I tried mine. Nothing. No calls, no texts. My fingers trembled. I ran to the living room and froze. Her bag was gone, and on the kitchen counter, I found them. Flight tickets. Hotel reservations. Both in her handwriting. Both dated for today. My heart stopped. No, this can't be real. I sank into the couch, staring at the evidence. Every line, every word screamed betrayal. I dialed her number, hands shaking, straight to voicemail. Again and again. Each ring, without answer, felt like a knife twisting deeper. I slammed my phone down. "Emma, why?" I shouted into the empty apartment, my voice breaking. I could hear Mark's voice in my head. "Stay calm. Think clearly." I couldn't. I couldn't stay calm. I called him anyway, desperate for guidance. "Mark, she's gone," I said, my voice raw. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" I breathed shakily. "She left. Flight tickets. Hotel. Richard. They're together." There was silence for a moment, then Mark said, Okay. Breathe. Are you safe?" I laughed bitterly. "Safe? Mark, she's gone with my boss. Everything's ruined." "Listen," he said firmly. "Don't do anything reckless. You need clarity first. Calm down, then plan." I hung up, pacing the apartment, fists clenching and unclenching. My mind raced. How could she do this? How could I have been so blind? The smiles, the laughs, the late-night texts she said were work stuff. Lies. All lies. I grabbed her jacket from the closet, still smelling faintly of her perfume. I held it to my face, breathing in the scent, desperate for something familiar. But it only made the hurt sharper. I sank to the floor, my hands on my face. "How could you?" I whispered. "How could you do this to me?" My phone buzzed, another message. I froze. It was from Emma. "Don't worry. We'll be back soon." My chest tightened. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. Instead, I sank deeper into the couch, staring at the screen. Soon? Soon. How could you say that after everything? I remembered the way Richard's smirk always felt, like he was winning. Now I understood. They'd been planning this. Every interaction I'd ignored, every friendly comment, part of their act. I tried calling her again. Voicemail. Tried texting. Ignored. Every ignored attempt made the ache in my chest worse. I felt helpless, like the world had tilted, leaving me clinging to air. I thought of confrontations, yelling, crying, of showing them how much pain they caused. But Mart's words echoed in my head. Plan first. Don't let anger control you. I grabbed my laptop, opening email after email, looking for something, proof, evidence, anything that could explain how they did this behind my back. Flight confirmations, hotel bookings, credit card charges. Every piece I found confirmed the betrayal. I sank back in a chair, shaking my head. I should have seen it. I should have known. My voice was hollow, echoing in the empty apartment. The apartment felt colder than it had ever been. Every Christmas decoration, every light on the tree, now seemed like a mockery of happiness. Emma had taken it all, the warmth, the love, the trust, and left me with only anger and disbelief. I thought of Richard's face when he'd leaned close at work, pretending to care. Every subtle smile, every word of advice, now twisted in my mind as manipulation. He had always had this charm, but I had underestimated the danger. I opened her closet, scanning for more clues, anything she left behind. Her shoes, her coats, her scarves, all that remained was the faint smell of her perfume. I sank to the floor again, whispering to myself, I can't let this go. I can't. I picked up my phone once more and dialed Mark. I don't know what to do, I admitted, voice barely steady. You start by breathing, he said. Then you think. Revenge isn't about panic. It's about patience. You'll get your answers, but don't lose yourself in anger yet. I hung up, staring at the tickets on the counter. I felt something harden inside me, a resolve of fire. Rage mixed with heartbreak, sadness mixed with determination. I whispered to the empty apartment, I swear, I'm going to make this right, no matter what it takes. My fists clenched. My heart raced. I had no idea how or when, but I knew I couldn't stay a victim. Emma and Richard had taken everything I trusted, and I would reclaim it, even if it destroyed me in the process. The lights on the Christmas tree flickered, reflecting off the flight tickets. They were a cruel reminder, but also a starting point. I rose to my feet, shaking with a mixture of grief and fury. I'll find the truth, I said, voice low but steady, and I'll make them regret this. That night, the apartment felt empty, silent, but inside me, a storm had begun. A storm that would not end until justice, or revenge, was mine. I sat across from Alex in a quiet cafe, my fingers wrapped tight around a cup I hadn't touched. So, Alex said, lowering his voice, tell me everything. No gaps. I exhaled. Emma left with my boss. Flights, hotel lies. All of it planned. Alex leaned back. You want revenge, or you want answers? I want control, I said. I lost that first. He nodded slowly. Good. Control comes before revenge. I checked my phone again. Still nothing from Emma. But notifications were piling up. People were starting to talk. Alex tapped the table. I did some digging already. I looked up. Ow! Richard isn't as careful as he thinks, Alex said. Company emails, expense reports, social posts tagged by strangers. They're not hiding. My jaw tightened. They stopped caring. No, Alex replied. They think they've won. That burned more than anger. Where are they? Alex slid his phone toward me. Hotel downtown. Same place he uses for business trips. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Of course he does. Alex studied me. You're shaking. Sit with that before you act. I'm fine, I said, though my hand said otherwise. He shook his head. You're not. And that's dangerous. I stared at the screen. Emma smiling in a photo someone posted online. Richard's arm just out of frame. She looks happy, I said quietly. Alex didn't soften his tone. Appearances lie. Facts don't. I swallowed. What do I do? You decide your end goal, he said. Public destruction or private freedom. I leaned back. Part of me wants everyone to know. I want them embarrassed. And the other part? The other part wants to walk away stronger, I admitted, like they never mattered. Alex nodded. That's the harder path. Isn't revenge supposed to feel good? I asked. It feels powerful, he replied, not peaceful. Later that day, I met Lisa outside the office. She avoided my eyes at first. You heard, I said. She sighed. Everyone has. Are they still pretending? Not really, Lisa said. They came in together yesterday. No shame. My chest tightened. Did Richard say anything? She hesitated. He said you were unstable, that you couldn't handle pressure. I laughed once. That's his defense. Lisa crossed her arms. I'm telling you because you deserve the truth. Be careful. Thank you, I said. As she walked away, I realized something ugly and clear. I had trusted too easily, loved too blindly. That night, Mark came over with takeout. You look different, he said. I feel different, I replied. He sat down. You're thinking about revenge. I'm thinking about justice, I corrected. Mark frowned. Those aren't the same. I know, I said. That's the problem. He leaned forward. Don't ruin yourself trying to punish them. I met his eyes. I won't. I'm done being careless. Mark nodded slowly. That scares me more. After he left, my phone buzzed. A message from Emma. We didn't mean to hurt you. I stared at it, my hand steady now. I typed back. You planned it. That's meaning enough. No reply. I opened Alex's message again, reading the details he sent. Dates. Patterns. Lies stacked neatly together. I whispered to myself. I trusted love more than truth. That was my mistake. I closed the laptop and stood by the window, city lights flickering below. I felt anger, yes, but also something new. Focus. I didn't need to destroy them loudly. I needed to rise quietly. Small steps, I said aloud. Each truth I learned gave me power. Each choice not to react gave me clarity. This wasn't about hurting them anymore. This was about never letting anyone break me like that again. And that realization scared me. Because for the first time, revenge wasn't my goal. It was just the beginning. I walked into the office that morning, coffee in hand, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Morning, Samuel said, approaching with a stack of files. Morning, I replied, curious. Have you heard about Richard? He asked quietly, glancing around. I shook my head. No, what happened? Samuel lowered his voice further. Some of the board members caught wind of his manipulations. Falsifying reports, favors to friends, cutting people out unfairly. I raised my eyebrows. Finally, he chuckled. Yes, and it's causing a lot of upheaval. He's being questioned internally. Could cost him his position. I felt a faint flicker of satisfaction. Not happiness, exactly. Not yet, but a small vindication. Later, I ran into Lisa in the break room. You've been quiet, she said, watching me. I'm observing, I admitted. Richard's getting what he deserves. Things are falling apart for him. Lisa frowned. Don't let it consume you. He deserves consequences, but don't lose yourself in it. I know, I said. It's hard, seeing him exposed after everything. She nodded. Emma's facing backlash too. People are talking. Claire, her friend, is distancing herself. It's rough. I felt a twinge of guilt. Even with all she did. Lisa shook her head. She's responsible. But isolation isn't pleasant, even for her. That evening, I walked past a cafe and saw Claire leaving. I stopped her. Claire, I called. She paused, reluctant. Yes. Emma, are you aware of how isolated she's become? Claire sighed. I'm not trying to hurt her. But after what she did, people feel betrayed. I can't support it anymore. I nodded, silent for a moment. I understand. Still, it must be hard for her. Claire's eyes softened slightly. It is. But actions have consequences. We can't ignore them. I walked away, feeling a complex mix of emotions. Satisfaction, yes, but also lingering pain. Seeing her unravel stung in ways I didn't expect. At home, I stared at the Christmas tree lights. They were still up, but dimmer somehow. I thought about Emma, about us, and the betrayal. I felt a strange sense of growth, realizing how much stronger I'd become. Mark called that night. You okay? He asked. Better, I replied. Watching them struggle, it's odd. I thought I'd feel relief, but there's sadness too. That's normal, he said. It doesn't erase the pain, but it shows you've grown. You're not consumed by it. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. I guess. I'm learning my worth. I don't need to watch them suffer to know I'm stronger. That's right, he said. And karma doesn't need your help. It moves on its own. The next day, I overheard Richard arguing with a colleague in the hallway. "You can't fire me," he snapped. "I'm not firing you," the colleague replied evenly. "But your behavior is under review. People are losing trust. Clients are complaining. This could cost you everything." I felt a flicker of grim satisfaction. Finally, his arrogance was colliding with reality. Later, I saw Emma in the park. She sat alone, head bowed, scrolling through her phone. Claire walked past, ignoring her completely. A few other former friends gave her sidelong glances and turned away. I didn't approach. I just observed. Her isolation was real, a slow unraveling, not dramatic but undeniable. I whispered to myself, "This is what consequences feel like." I thought about my own journey. A month ago, I would have reacted violently, consumed by rage. Now, I felt detached, stronger, almost free. I'd survived betrayal, heartbreak, and humiliation, and I was still standing. That night, I called Alex. "It's happening," I said quietly. "They're unraveling." Alex chuckled. "Good. But remember, it's not your mission. You stay focused on yourself." "I know," I said, "but it's hard not to feel some satisfaction." "That's human," he replied. "Don't deny it. Just don't let it define you." I sat back, staring at the ceiling. My anger had cooled, replaced by clarity. I could watch karma unfold without being consumed by it. I could grow while they fell. Samuel's warnings, Claire's distance, the whispers in the office, all signs of their downfall. And I realized, for the first time, that I didn't need revenge to prove myself. I only needed to survive it with my dignity intact. I whispered, almost to myself, "I'm stronger than I thought, and I'll keep rising." The lights of the city flickered outside my window, distant and cold, yet somehow comforting. The world kept moving. So would I. And for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. I found them at the hotel cafe, sitting close like nothing had happened. My chest tightened. Every instinct screamed to storm in, yelled, demand answers. But I forced myself to walk calmly. "Emma," I said, voice controlled but sharp. She looked up, startled. How did you?" "I track you," I said bluntly. "And Richard?" His smirk faltered. "You shouldn't be here." "I shouldn't," I repeated, sitting across from them. "You too? You shouldn't have destroyed everything I trusted." Emma's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry. I didn't mean." "You didn't mean?" I leaned forward, voice low and hard. "You left me, planned it, lied to me every step of the way. And now you say you're sorry." Richard scoffed. "Come on, it wasn't that serious. We didn't hurt anyone permanently." "Not that serious?" I laughed bitterly. "Do you know what it feels like to watch the person you love choose someone else? To realize everything was a lie?" Emma's tears fell freely now. I never wanted you to get hurt. I was confused." "Confused?" I repeated. "You knew exactly what you were doing. And you think confusion excuses betrayal?" Richard's jaw tightened. "You're overreacting." I shook my head, anger mixing with exhaustion. "No, I'm not. I'm done pretending I'm the naive one. I trusted you both, and I was played." Emma's voice wavered. "Please. I regret it. I really do. Can't we start over?" I took a deep breath. Every nerve in me screamed to humiliate them, to make them feel the shame I felt. But as I looked at her, and at him, I realized something I hadn't felt in weeks. Control. "You know what?" I said quietly, letting the words settle. "It's too late." Emma flinched. "Too late?" "Yes. Too late to undo what you've done. Too late to take away the pain you caused." I leaned back, letting the weight of my calm settle over them. "But not too late for me." Richard's smirk faltered again. "What are you talking about?" I smiled, a bitter, resolute smile. "I'm talking about me taking back my life, my dignity, my worth. And you two aren't part of that anymore." Emma's sobs turned to quiet whimpers. I can't believe this." "You should have thought about that before you left," I said, voice steady. "Regret won't fix anything. And revenge, well, that would only give you power over me again. I won't let that happen." Richard's face darkened. "So you're just letting us go?" I nodded. "I'm letting myself grow. I'm letting this betrayal teach me instead of break me. You've lost your chance to control me." Emma wiped her eyes. I wanted to explain everything. It wasn't just about him. Explain? I said, voice rising slightly. There's nothing to explain. You made your choice. You left. And now you live with the consequences. Richard leaned forward, voice low and dangerous. You think walking away makes you stronger? You're still here, talking to us. You're still reacting. I stared at him, calm but firm. No, I'm reacting on my terms. I choose how to feel. I choose how to move forward. And that choice doesn't include destroying myself over your mistakes. Emma's lips trembled. I thought you'd be angry forever. I didn't expect this. This is not weakness, I said. It's strength. Strength I didn't have when I trusted blindly. Strength I've earned through heartbreak and betrayal. You've lost nothing that matters to me anymore. They were silent. I let the pause stretch, long enough for the weight of my words to settle. You'll see the consequences in your lives, in your own way, I said quietly. And that's enough. I don't need to hand it to you myself. Emma whispered, barely audible. I never thought you'd be this calm. I smiled faintly. Calm doesn't mean unaffected. I still hurt. But I refuse to let that hurt define me. I refuse to let control me. Richard leaned back, defeated, words failing him. Emma stared down at the table, remorse clear but powerless. I stood. I hope you understand one thing, I said, voice steady. I'm walking away, yes, but not in defeat. I'm walking away stronger than I ever was with you. And I will never let someone else take that from me again. Emma's lips quivered. I'm sorry. I know, I said softly. But it doesn't matter anymore. Goodbye, Emma. Goodbye, Richard. I turned and walked out, the sunlight hitting my face as I stepped outside. Every step away felt lighter. My chest ached, yes, but not with despair, with relief. I whispered to myself, almost as a promise, I'll rebuild. I'll grow. And I'll never be naive again. The hotel doors closed behind me, leaving them in their own silence. And for the first time in months, I felt truly free. I woke to sunlight streaming through the blinds, warm on my face. It felt strange, peaceful, almost foreign. I stretched and sat up, taking a deep breath. No phone buzzing with lies. No messages from Emma or Richard. Just silence, and for the first time in months, I welcomed it. Mark's voice came through my speaker as I made coffee. Morning, man. Sleep well. Better than I have in weeks, I admitted, pouring the coffee. Actually, peaceful. It's weird. Not weird, he said, chuckling. It's progress. I smiled. Yeah, progress. I think I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. You've earned it, Mark said. You survived betrayal, heartbreak, and manipulation. Most people would still be broken. Maybe, I said softly. But surviving isn't enough. I need to grow, not just survive. Alex called around mid-morning. Checking in, he said, voice brisk. How's the rebuilding going? I laughed lightly. It's messy, but I'm learning. I'm remembering what really matters. What people really matter. Good, he said. You've got clarity now, and that's more valuable than revenge. I nodded, though he couldn't see me. Yeah, revenge would have left me hollow. Empty. I don't want that anymore. I went for a walk in the park later, familiar streets that used to feel heavy, now lighter somehow. People bustled past, families, friends, strangers, and I didn't feel bitterness toward them. I felt freedom. I ran into Mark on a bench near the fountain. Hey, I said. Hey, he replied, sitting beside me. Looking well. Trying, I said, staring at the water. It's hard not to think about everything I lost. Loss is part of growth. Mark said. You don't erase it, you learn from it. I nodded. I used to think my life ended with them. That losing Emma and seeing Richard's lies would destroy me. But I was wrong. Mark leaned back. What changed? I thought about the past weeks, the confrontation, the fallout, the quiet observation of their unraveling. I realized my worth isn't tied to anyone else. It never was, and I finally believe it. That's huge, he said. Most people never reach that point. I smiled faintly. I'm not done, though. I have to rebuild everything else. Trust, happiness, focus, all of it. Alex called again that evening. Thought you'd want some encouragement, he said. I do, I said. I think I'm finally ready to start fresh. To rebuild me, not react to them. That's the best revenge, he said. Living well. I laughed softly. Funny, That's what I thought about before, but I never really believed it. Now, I get it. I hung up and walked to the balcony, staring at the city lights. The world kept moving. Life kept moving. And for the first time, I felt like I was moving with it, not being dragged by someone else's lies. I remember the moments of despair, the nights staring at the ceiling, wondering how I could have been so naive. And I acknowledged them, not as scars, but as lessons. Every pang of heartbreak was now a reminder of resilience. Every tear shed was proof I survived. Mark texted me later, "Dinner tomorrow? You deserve to celebrate yourself." I smiled. I replied, "Absolutely. I need to remind myself who I am." At dinner, Mark and I talked about work, life, and dreams. No mention of Emma or Richard. Not because I forgot, but because I chose to focus on what I could control. My growth, my happiness, my future. Alex joined later that week. "Looking different," he said. "More grounded." I nodded. "I've stopped looking back. Every day is about building something new, stronger." He smirked. "About time. You were too busy drowning in their chaos before." "Not anymore," I said. "I'm rebuilding, one step at a time." Evenings were quieter now. I picked up old hobbies, wrote in my journal, even went running. The physical exertion cleared my mind. Each mile I ran felt like a piece of the past falling away, replaced with energy, strength, and hope. Sometimes I felt a pang, memory of laughter, smiles, shared moments, but it no longer controlled me. I acknowledged it, then let it go. I called Mark one night, voice calm. "You know, I never thought I'd get here." "You mean feeling like yourself again?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "Confident, independent, strong." Pain was heavy, but it taught me more than comfort ever could. "Good," he said. "Now don't let anyone take it from you." "I won't," I said. I closed my eyes for a moment, letting the sounds of the city wash over me. Life wasn't perfect. The ache of loss lingered, but it was gentle now, not suffocating. I whispered to myself, almost a vow, "I am enough. I am strong. I am moving forward." And for the first time in months, I had truly believed it. The road ahead was uncertain, yes, but mine to travel. I had survived betrayal, heartbreak, and humiliation. I had chosen growth over revenge. I had reclaimed myself, and that made all the difference.